रोशनी का कारवां.
This podcast is brought to you by Score Foundation.
ये है रोशनी, रोशनी, रोशनी का कारवां. रोशनी. Eyeway, ये है रोशनी का कारवां.
Hi, my name is George Abraham and welcome to Eyeway Conversations. My guest today is from Kerala. Her name is Fathima Anshi. She has just scored 99.16% in her plus two exams. She is a musician, she's a polyglot and an aspiring civil servant. Hi, Fatima, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So 99.16, how did it happen?
Well, it's such a long story. It involved a lot of hard works, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of tears that was being shed, a lot of determination, a lot of prayers, and the combination of all these factors eventually, along with my quest to enrich my knowledge, it all led to this result coming out. So yeah.
I believe that you are probably among the few people who are visually impaired who chose not to use a scribe but wrote the exam on a laptop. Is that correct?
Yes. I believe so too. Yes.
So that would have called for some preparation, right?
Yes, it was a long journey. The ride was quite bumpy. It all started from when I was in 10th grade. That's when I first started to write exams independently without relying on the helping hands of a scribe. It was first done by my cousin Harun Karim. He scored a resounding victory back then. So then when he did it, I was wondering, like, what if I do the same thing as well? And at first, even though I wanted to do this, I was really concerned about the scenarios that might arise because of the risk that I'm taking. My mind was filled with a lot of what ifs, like what if this happens, what if something goes wrong. But during these times, my parents supported me, and also since I had a primary knowledge in technology, I have been exposed to it ever since I was young, and that exposure was further increased by when I joined Sakshamadi, the ICE Free Science Camp, where I was exposed to different types of technology. Then I gained confidence, and then during the pandemic, during those 6 months of isolation, like around 6 or 7 months of isolation, which was close to a year, I started to practice typing. I started to practice writing on computer with my parents and those that supported me by my side. And yeah, at first I felt strange. I was so fearful of the outcomes that I might have to encounter. Luckily, I was able to do it, and yes, and then in 10th grade too, I got scored full A plus. So I would say it was a long ride to at least get this far.
Fatima, what were the subjects that you did in your plus two?
So the stream that I've taken up was humanities, which involved subjects such as sociology, history, followed by politics, which is political science, which is one of my favorite subjects. And then it had economics, and which is then followed by the linguistic subjects, which includes English and Malayalam. So there were 6 subjects in total.
This vision impairment that you have, is this something that you had from birth, or was it something that you contracted or picked up along the way?
When I was a baby, I was diagnosed with a condition called microphthalmia, which causes my nerves to not grow, the nerves of the cornea of my eyes to not grow and to be damaged. And yes, that's the cause of the condition that I'm suffering from, like blindness.
Tell me a little bit about your childhood.
Well, if I were to be honest with you, my childhood was pretty normal. I grew up having a happy childhood. My mother and my father, both my parents, they often made sure that I felt happy, I felt special, and also they never made me feel like I was, different. I had something missing in my life. They never ever made me feel like that. Whenever they went outside, whenever they went on various road trips, they would always take me with them, and they would always make me see the world through their eyes. And also and that was the time when I was introduced to music from a very young age. Like when my parents like heard me sing along and stuff, my parents were like so encouraging of my skills. So I grew up having a pretty normal, happy childhood with a supportive, amazing parent.
What about your education? You started in a blind school. So tell me a little bit about your early days at the blind school.
When it comes to my blind school, I was enrolled in a school called Kerala School for the Blind, which was located in one of the small towns of our district, Malappuram, and it was located in a town called Valikapata. So there, I was enrolled when I was around I think 4.5 or 5 years old, and my early days were pretty chaotic because I used to be a hyperactive child, and I was not quite like adapting to the environment of the school that I've been provided with. I went against all the rules that have been introduced by the school, which have been written in the school's governing book. And also, always caused troubles during my early days of school. I found it hard making friends and stuff, and my parents were a little bit concerned. But over time, I got used to it, and I did pretty well from that day onward.
If you know of anyone with vision impairment who needs guidance on living life with blindness, please share the Eyeway National Toll-Free Helpline number 1800-5320-469. The number is 1800-5320-469.
I was mostly involved with activities that were related to music. I loved learning. I loved exploring different parts of music. Since I had an amazing music teacher that supported me during that time, I was able to get into that. And also apart from that, I loved learning languages as well. From a very young age, I wanted to immerse myself into different cultures from different parts of the world.
In the 18 years or 17 years of your life, you've learned music, you've participated in various competitions, you performed at various levels, you've sung at various levels. So what's been your high point as far as music is concerned?
The highest achievements that I've made was during the time when I started having my recitals. I started to compete against the mainstream venture. I started to venture into mainstreams. Before that, I used to compete with people who suffered from almost the similar conditions as me. So venturing into mainstream was the highest point of my career, and also the knowledge that I've acquired in music, like which was ranging from the normal swaras to the kirtanas that I have been able to learn, and also the concept of manodharma that I've been able to master as well, and which I've been able to implement in various competitions that I've participated in, which I was declared as the winner. And yeah, so that could relatively be considered as the highest point. But I guess learning music from different parts of the world and incorporating it into my music would be considered as a peak of my musical journey.
So I also understand that you've done some singing for films. Is that right?
Yes, that is right. So as far as films are concerned, I sang for a few films. One of them was called At Once. it was, I guess I was around 6 or 7 years old when I was asked to sing for it. So like actually once my it was my music teacher who was behind me getting into the making an appearance in the musical or film musical industry. And then a few years later I also sang in a film called Pandu as well. And back then I was, I think, 11 or 12 years old. So yeah, these were the two films that I sang for.
And your language interests. So, what are the languages you actually speak?
So I speak different languages at varying degrees. For example, I am fluent in languages. I can speak Persian, and apart from English, I could speak Persian and then Turkish as well. And I've been trying to learn Macedonian, a little bit of Kurdish, a little bit of Korean, and also I've been trying to learn a language called. I just decided to take another direction. I went to the languages like Amharic, which is considered as one of the official languages of Ethiopia, and then I have been trying to learn Swahili as well. And then I have also been trying to learn Russian and and also a little bit of Spanish as well. I picked that up on the way. And yeah, and Romani language, Gypsy language, which has been spoken by people like an ethnic group which has been scattered around different parts of Europe, different parts of Asia, and they even extend themselves to North Africa as well.
I guess it's appropriate to ask you at this stage. You've at a very small age, you've actually have kind of got a reasonable, I wouldn't say mastery, but reasonable hang of several languages. And so, how do you go about learning this language? And especially when you are blind, you don't have the opportunity of looking at the script or learning the script. So it must be all by listening, I guess. So
Yes.
tell us how you actually go about learning a language.
Okay, so there are a lot of ways that I've adopted to learn a language. So one of them is making use of Google Assistant, the Google Translate feature. There,
Yeah.
I would ask Google Assistant to translate something that I want to say in a language that I want to learn. For example, I would say like I say like how to say I love you in Russian. Then Google would say in Russian you could say "Я тебя люблю." So there it would translate it for me. And also I would go through various tutorials that have been availed for us on YouTube. So that also worked. That also helps me. And then I have made a lot of I've befriended a lot of people from online by I've been getting myself connected with different people from different parts of the world through different online chat forums and a few applications like Telegram, Discord, and a few other like websites as well. Sometimes I use Omegle or to practice with people, and I would make friends with people that I talk to, and I would expose myself to the language. Like I mostly adopt the method that I've used to learn Malayalam as a native language. So yeah, it's exposure mostly.
I also understand that you have an interest in politics. So tell me, how did you get interested in politics, and how do you go, and what is your plan as you go forward?
Ever since my school years, I was kind of interested in getting to know about how our state is governed, how different, political, institutions and different political instruments work. And it was mostly, but that interest was further developed ever since I got access to, a wide library of knowledge through the eyes of technology. So that's how books were kind of one of the things that interested me, that made me get into political science. When it comes to moving forward, in political science, I would like to learn more about how we have been able to maintain relationship with certain countries, and what are the things that could be done to strengthen the relationship that a country, like especially our nation, has, the relationship that our nation pursues with other countries. So it's something that's the direction that I'll be moving towards.
So, what is your dream in life as you go forward?
So, in terms of my ambition is to become an IFS officer. I want to get into the Indian Foreign Service and so help represent our nation. And also, I want to travel around the world. I've seen different dimensions of the world through the eyes of technology, but I think that's not enough for me. I wanted to experience it in person, and I want to get to know about different cultures in person. I just want to feel it in real life.
You are associated with an organization, an international organization called Project Vision.
Yes.
What exactly is Project Vision, and what is your kind of association with them?
So the Project Vision is an international organization, as you said. It is headquartered at Bangalore. So the duty of this Project Vision is to, give more emphasis on the significance of vision, and to provide people with the awareness of the importance of eye donation. So it's mostly about promoting the significance of vision and encourage people to come forward to make a big difference in the world by just donating their eyes and providing more opportunities for people who suffer from visual impairment. So that's what our organization is all about.
You also did mention in passing that technology has provided you access to knowledge, information, trends in the world.
Yes.
So is it just surfing the net, or you also have access to global libraries and so on that you read books from?
Well, apart from surfing the internet, I've also been provided with the access to a global library called the Bookshare Library, which has been one of the greatest, one of the most comprehensive, one of the greatest libraries that I've ever been exposed to. And it all started when I was 14. I was introduced to it through the Ice Free Science Camp introduced by Chakshmati, where I was guided into, guided towards this global library. It has provided me with a wide range of knowledge. It has made me explore different genres, and it has also catered to my needs as well. Since my taste of books has also been met. My expectations have also been met by this library as well.
So you read books on politics, or you also do read other genres?
Yes, I do read books on politics, and also, as I mentioned, I read books about mental health sometimes because I'm kind of curious to know about what the other people's perspectives or views about how the mental health needs to be taken care of and stuff. And also, I would also, for entertainment purposes as well, I would try to make use of, I would try to read books that are related to fantasy, science fictions and stuff. So yeah.
To support our work with the blind and visually impaired, you can visit the donate page on our website www.scorefoundation.org.in. Please note www.scorefoundation.org.in.
You have the unique experience of spending part of your educational life in a special school, and you also spent time studying in an inclusive mainstream school. What have you actually taken away from both these systems?
So assessing by my experiences, like for special school, I was mostly, I studied with the people who suffered from the same condition as me. It kind of made us feel aware of the things that we suffer from, and how to work with it, how to get with it. But at the same time, it kind of isolates us from the mainstream society. But when you get into the mainstream, you mingle with the mainstream society, so you would be able to pick up how mainstream society works. And to a great extent, we if you put in great efforts, you could kind of integrate with the mainstream society to a greater extent. And this is much more, for me, I would say this is much more easier for somebody who suffers from visual impairment as well. And also, for me, another interesting experience, a takeaway that I could talk about is the difference of competition. So when I was studying at the blind school, my class almost had around 5 to 7 kids. So there, we didn't have that much competition in terms of academic achievements. But then, as I got into the mainstream, I had to compete with around 45 or 46 students, and this year it was around 65 students.
Now, would you like to share with us and kind of acknowledge the various people, both within the family and outside, and the various other resources that actually made it possible to get you to where you are today?
For sure. So the first existence that I would like to acknowledge is the Almighty God. He brought me to life. He provided me with a lot of opportunities that I would forever be grateful for. And secondly, my family, both my parents, especially my mom. She sacrificed all her dreams just to provide me with a happy childhood, with a safe, an adequate, and a comprehensive environment, a loving, warm embrace that would still resonate throughout the journey of my life. And also, my music teacher, Nisar sir, he helped me a lot as well in terms of music. And then in terms of technology, I would like to express my gratitude, an overwhelming amount of gratitude towards Chakshumati, and especially Ram Kamal sir. He supported me a lot throughout my future and throughout my journey towards a bright future that I envisioned for myself. So I would like to acknowledge him as well. And so nothing, words cannot describe how grateful I am towards him. And also the bookshare library as well. They have provided not just me, but the other people who belong to visually impaired, as well as other communities who have been who have been dreaming of enriching themselves with knowledge of a greater deal of a broad range of knowledge. So on behalf of all of them, I would like to express my gratitude towards Bookshare Library as well. And also all the friends that supported me, all of my loved ones who loved me and cared for me and stood by me through thick and thin, even during the lowest points of my life too. So yeah.
You mentioned your parents, you mentioned your mom and dad. You spoke at length at your mom. What was the role of your dad?
My dad, he's an amazing supporter. He has always protected me. He always provided me with the moral support. He provided me with all the things that was needed for my education to be pursued. And also the things that I wanted to do. He was so supportive of me. He always encouraged me to do more and more things. He's actually my number one fan, I would say, and I love him more than anything else. And there's nothing that I could ask for in the world, and I wouldn't trade him for anything else in the world. I love him.
Well, Fatima, you have reached 99.16. It's a great springboard to the future life. Wish you the very best, and may you go from strength to strength.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Eyeway, ये है रोशनी का कारवां.
This podcast was brought to you by Score Foundation.
ये है रोशनी का कारवां. रोशनी का